Welcome to You Are Not Alone. This is a safe place to explore all things spiritual and beyond. I am spiritual medium Erika Gabriel. Well, welcome back to You Are Not Alone. I'm so happy to be with you all today. And I just have this incredible guest, and it's such an amazing moment because this podcast has been a long time in the making. And the timing is just so beautiful and it's so in alignment. And I can't wait for you to hear her and connect with the amazing power that she is able to really listen to with such clarity. It's so inspiring. And I was telling her, I was laughing, writing her bio and how I was going to introduce her because it's so long and there's so many amazing things about her. And let me just introduce her because I can't say anything better than she'll say it. So I have Bonnie Piesse on the show. Thank you, Bonnie.
Hi, Erika.
I'm so happy. And we're like so staring at each other laughing, like in joy for a while before we started. But Bonnie is an amazing actress. She really kind of some small things. I don't know if you've ever heard of a movie called Star Wars. It's pretty insignificant, but if you've ever heard of a movie called Star Wars, she was in it. And she also has recently filmed Obi-Wan Kenobi as well. She is also an incredible singer and composer. When I hear her voice, I get such chills. She's an amazing singer. She's also the founder of Soul and Sky. She does beautiful intuitive readings, intuitive tarot readings, and she's the host of her own podcast, I Am the Sky. Her podcast is really, really special. And hopefully after you listen to this episode, you go and listen to her podcast. And Bonnie was also featured in an HBO documentary called The Vow. And in The Vow, she had a massive spiritual awakening and was able to bring down a horrible cult single-handedly. She is amazing. I admire her. I can't be more excited to have her here. So welcome.
Thank you. That's a beautiful introduction.
Did I leave anything out?
The thing is, like, I'm about to launch into so many other things that the list is just going to go on and on. But that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And your course, right? Can I say that? Yeah, your course,
of course,
on manifestation, which is like,
yes. When
I heard her talking about her course, I was like, I'm taking that because I think sometimes to learn from people that I don't know how to put this, but haven't been through a lot or maybe been through highs and lows or kind of gone into the depths of themselves, I think feels uncomfortable for me. And with everything you've been through, I just trust you so much. And I trust your connection to spirit so much. I would love to take your course and I hope everyone else does too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to talk about manifesting a lot because of, even how you told me how, the first Star Wars happened. So I want to talk about manifesting and really talk about how do you listen to yourself? How do you know what you're hearing? And really what that spiritual awakening was like for you, what it was like talking to your guides that were telling you, hey, you have to move through the situation, right? What does that feel like?
Yeah, I guess, let's start there. So I had been pretty disconnected from my intuition because in the cult, we were encouraged not to listen. It was kind of shamed. Like if you had a gut feeling about something, it's like that was probably just your own issue or something. So I'd been denying it for a number of years. And then it started to kind of call on me again. And I noticed one day that I could do automatic writing. And I think I was like starting to listen to spiritual podcasts and consuming spiritual books. So I was starting to open up. And I think the cult leader was actually upset about that. He wasn't happy with me consuming other material, but I'm so glad I did. But yeah, so I noticed that I could journal and write a question in my journal and then just get such a wise, higher perspective response.
Which was probably different than anything else you were hearing at that time when you were in that situation in the cult. Like,
right.
Yeah, wow.
It felt so loving and so true and wise and just resonated on such a deep level. So I was consulting what I called the oracle. So I would say to Mark, I'm going to go ask the oracle, and I'd write stuff down. And he was really supportive. Mark's my husband. And And then I was kind of going into my own meditation again, which I'd also turned my back on for a while. And in my meditation, it's kind of like I found an abyss. And every time I'd put my little baby toe into this abyss, there'd be explosions, like Kundalini explosions, I think. That's the way I understand it now. But I was resisting going in. And actually, a friend of mine played a huge part in me really, really going into this abyss and also listening to the intuition. And because I just told her about what had been going on. And she was also in the cult, but she was more removed, more listening to other stuff. And she just kind of like stopped me in my tracks and was like, you must go in. She was like, you must. So she was also a huge signpost.
She was like, do this for both of us, for all of us. Go in.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she said that she'd been listening to Eckhart Tolle.
Wow.
And hearing about how he'd found this void and that was what kind of pulled him in and then brought about this big awakening for him. So she really was able to make me see the importance of that. And then, yeah, I guess it's kind of a long story, but I took 10 days to just meditate. I canceled most of my plans and just went in and listened to that voice more and more and listened to spiritual podcasts. And it just got stronger and stronger. And by day 10, there was a huge Kundalini awakening that happened. And then my intuition went to a whole other level literally after that moment. It was like, wow, I can tune into stuff. It was pretty dramatic.
Do you feel like when you went into the abyss, you were talking to God? Were you with your guides? Like, do you remember your guides? Did you meet them at that point? Because you were in this place, you were completely robbed of your own power, and then all of a sudden you're like, something's happening. And that's so overwhelming. Did you find someone in the abyss that was your guide or your connector?
So the abyss felt like source, and it still does. So just that kind of pure source energy. But it definitely felt like my guides were speaking to me and I could have a conversation with them at any point. And just, the oracle was my guides. And it became very easy to have that back and forth and so comforting. And all the advice that came through was just so helpful and felt so right.
And then how do you find that bravery to then go out and share that? Like, it's interesting when you were saying, like, sometimes even in really accepted religion, common religion, you're being told this is the one thing and anything else is terrible. So like,
totally.
I recently was on a show and most of the comments were like, devil woman, this is devil work. Right. This is not what it says in the book, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I embrace all religions, but
I do too. Yeah.
But it's
that fundamentalist.
Yeah. That extreme that's like, don't listen to yourself. Just this is the only thing. And so even, people that are listening that are, in something that they're feeling like, wow, I love God or I love Jesus or I love Moses or whatever it may be, but something else is talking to me. Does that mean I'm bad? And so then going in and connecting with the abyss like you did and working with the oracle, and then how do you go out and tell people about, like, how do you find that strength, and honoring yourself, just honoring yourself and saying, this is real. I know what I'm feeling and seeing.
Yeah. So my expectation once I had the big awakening was I actually thought that everyone would be excited to talk about it within the cult because that's what I thought we were doing there. Really. I was like, this is an awakening, a place for awakening. And so I just expected to be able to talk to people about it. And there were a few people who were supportive and interested. And then for the most part, I was getting shamed and punished. And I was getting, word was coming to me through the grapevine that the higher ranks were, saying I'd gone crazy and I needed to be put through a breach. Now I've even forgotten the terms that they used. But
like a trial, like a Salem, like a witch trial. They're like, right. She's a witch. She's a witch. Yeah, literally.
Exactly. But that was a surprise to me. I was like, wow. And actually that was a big part of my awakening out of that system, was realizing that it was not what I thought. It wasn't a group that was supporting awakening. And it was a surprise and it was a betrayal. And it was challenging because, people who were my friends within that system would come and say, Bonnie, they're saying awful things about you. And I was kind of like, yep, I know.
Wow.
And I still didn't know any of the darkness that was going on. I didn't have the evidence or anything.
Right.
But that was revealing to me that something was really wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I literally went into the abyss and talked to source. Why am I being demonized for this? This is beautiful.
Yeah.
And they were like, no. Wow.
Exactly. And I had found a joy within myself that I then was able to see that those people weren't experiencing. So it was just really clear that it was time to leave.
Yeah. Big mirror.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was very painful and uncomfortable for sure.
What would you say to people that are in a situation and they're I get a lot of people that write me, and I'm sure you do too, about like, I am having a spiritual experience, but no one around me understands. I'm totally alone.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
It happens so much.
Yeah.
I would say the more you can listen to what's true for you, like that's so, so important. And then find voices that are affirming to you what you know is true, so that you don't feel so alone, and so that you don't necessarily get swayed and pulled off into other people's opinions about things, which is so easy. I mean, we're so programmed to want approval and want people to agree with us. So find those voices that are going to be supportive for you.
And trust yourself, trust what you're hearing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's all about resonance, tuning into yourself and feeling what really resonates for you as truth. And yeah, there's something about also, I had an interesting thought at a certain point during my awakening, like awakening out of the cult, which was that our minds can be hijacked, but ourselves can't. So kind of learning to, I mean, there's a place for listening to our minds, of course. That's an amazing tool. But listen to what's true in your body, in your being, in your gut. Because your mind actually can be manipulated and talked out of things.
Yeah, but your soul can't. That's beautiful. I feel like you should write that quote down.
Right? It's really true. It was a passing thought that I had one day.
But something just happened. That was so beautiful. I love that. That's amazing. And it makes so much sense too, because even in today's world, like there is so much noise. Sometimes at night I have to turn off my internet because even the electricity running through my house disturbs me,
Yes.
And and I think there's just so much noise and so much anger. And it's like, what do I do? People are saying like, what do I do? What do I do in all this chaos? And it's like, nothing. Mm-hmm. Listen to your own magic. Listen to your own connection to source. And that is where you'll find your clarity.
Exactly. And come back to stillness, time to meditate in whatever way feels right for people. I think that's like absolutely crucial, because the world that we live in is so noisy and it's very chaotic right now. And it's easy to be distracted and pulled off in every direction. But yeah, to have those even moments in between things of stillness with yourself where you're just checking in. Yeah.
And taking that moment. Wow. That's amazing. And I think you're so brave. And it was interesting. I was talking to a friend actually last night who had someone really negative at work. And she had to find the bravery to speak out, and how scary that was, just to honor yourself in any way. And what you did is just so amazing. And I just want to tell everyone that's how I met Bonnie. I was watching the documentary on HBO and I saw her, and in my mind, my guides were like, she's awakening. She's having a spiritual awakening. I was like, oh my gosh. And in my mind, I was like, go, yes, you're not alone. Yes. I was watching you and it was so amazing. And then at that point, I thought like, I wonder how Bonnie's doing now. And I looked for her on Instagram and it said follow back. And I was like, oh, she's following me. Oh my gosh. And reached out. And when I talked to Bonnie yesterday, I was laughing. I'm like, isn't it funny that we're like internet friends? Isn't that so weird?
It's so much more than that.
So much more, but that we met that way, and how special that is,
Yeah. And you, like, speaking of having voices that help affirm to you what you know to be true, you were one of those voices for me, because there was a period that was very dark when we were escaping and, being followed and chased and harassed and making the documentary, which was quite traumatic, even though it was really needed. But I needed those voices like yours to remember what was true.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And your voice means a lot to me, just so you know. I admire you so much, and the bravery that you have and what you're able to do and how you were able to stay true to yourself no matter what is something I aspire to be, really.
Thank you, Erika. You're amazing.
So are you.
Means so much.
So this is so cool. So, and we talked about a little bit in the beginning, that you are an actress or an actor, whatever. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what we call ourselves now.
Yeah, totally. One who acts.
Exactly.
And I love when you told me the story about Star Wars and how you got that originally and what that felt like. And it's so important because that feeling is manifesting.
Yeah, and that's why I'm creating this manifestation course, because I've realized that over the years I kind of sort of unintentionally developed these practices. So I'd lie awake in bed at night and I wanted to be an actress. I was inspired by some other people. I was like 15 and I had already been in a TV show in Australia. So I'd already done that and actually called that in through the manifestation process as well. But so I heard that they were shooting Star Wars in Australia. And at that point, Hollywood movies were pretty few and far between in Australia. It was like a few a year or something. And when one came, all the actors were like, ooh, like, let's get a role.
Yeah.
But this one particularly, and I like that phrase of what you seek is seeking you, because I wanted a role, but it was calling me in some way. And I wanted to, so I just felt a small role because I was still kind of, finding my feet as an actress and I didn't want to be too overwhelmed with a big role. So I was just putting out there a small role in this beautiful production, and it's just going to be so magical, and I'll bring such value that it'll just work out really well for everyone. And I imagined every night as I was falling asleep being on set, I just would feel it completely, and my whole being would just be vibrating with this feeling of being on set and having this role. I would lie awake for hours just doing this, just enjoying the feeling.
Wow. And it felt good.
It felt great.
It felt good, not desperate.
No, it felt like I already had it, It was like, it's already here. And it felt very, very vibrant and alive, and like light energy was running through my body as I was doing that. And then they called me. They were like, we want to audition Bonnie. And it was kind of, when the call came in, I was like, oh, yeah, good, here it is.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They found me, yeah.
Totally. That's so amazing.
And even the audition, like, I was pretty nervous and I messed it up, to anyone who beats themselves up about being nervous. I fumbled my lines, and it doesn't matter. If something's for you and it's meant for you, you can't mess it up by fumbling.
That's so powerful. And I love that you're just like, oh yeah, here they are calling. But isn't that the true key to unlock the door of manifestation? I feel like the component sometimes that's missing with manifesting is this idea of feeling good around it. So meaning we're feeling anxious and desperate or in lack, like, oh, I really want this. I'm going to put it on a board. I'm going to squeeze the shit out of it, and it's like You're closing it off. So you just felt the feeling and felt great about it and opened the door to it with ease.
And I've obviously experienced both. I mean, as an actor, it can be really disempowering. And I've spent a lot of time waiting for roles and feeling disempowered at certain times. And I can totally relate to that and feeling completely stuck in the lack and needy and desperate and like, this thing's going to fix all my problems. And yeah, when we're in that phase or that experience where we're really vibrating in lack and it's very fearful and our whole system's kind of, closed, compared to when we open to what it feels like to have the things that we want and how amazing it is, then it's natural for things to flow.
You aligned with that role.
Yeah.
Like you completely aligned with it. And that's so awesome. And that's like with manifesting, like this alignment component where if you're totally out of alignment from the thing that you want, how can you be a match for it? A vibrational match.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And for me, I think it's had a lot to do with carving out special sacred time to feel into what it is that I'm calling in. And actually, so I kind of did a similar process to call in Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it was during an awful time. It was literally as we were escaping. And I just was feeling so low. My self-worth was just really not good at all. I felt terrible about myself and just so shaky and panic attacks all the time. But every day I'd take time, pretty much every day, I would go to this cafe in LA and order this hot chocolate that's so amazing. It's Intelligentsia in Silver Lake, if anyone
that's
wants to try.
The first place I lived when I moved to LA was on Lexington Avenue, which is like right down the street from there. Yes. Love
Beautiful.
it. Love it. Love it.
Yes. Yeah. So I'd go and I'd just do these journaling sessions. And even though it did feel really far away, in these journaling sessions, I would literally write up like, I've been cast in Kenobi. That was what they were kind of calling it in the rumors. And yeah, my role is this and that. And it's a bigger role. They've expanded it. And I even wrote down like what they would pay me. But it's at that point, I wasn't really expecting it to happen. It was more like a pastime that just made me feel better to go and do these journaling sessions.
You felt
and
good.
Then I forgot about it. I felt great. Yeah.
It felt good. You're like, yeah, this feels great. So many times we're manifesting something that turns on us and it starts to feel terrible. You know, we're like, oh my gosh, I want it so bad.
Right. Totally. And I can't say there wasn't some of that as well, but I was doing this kind of pure journaling. Yeah. And then it came out of the blue 3 years later, but I had been calling it in.
Oh my gosh. 3 years?
Yeah. And now I can see that it wasn't the time for it. Like my nervous system couldn't have handled being on a set at that point. But yeah, 3 years later, The Vow had aired, and that was kind of its own trauma, but also beautiful to have the story out. And yeah, the producers actually saw The Vow and wanted to expand my role because of that, because they saw who I was. And I had no intent to get an acting role out of that at all. It was just the right thing to do.
Right. Of course. Of course. But it's like anyone who sees you in that, and that we had talked about saying that if you want more details about that story, go and watch that HBO documentary, The Vow. But anyone who saw you in that, like, could see your authenticity and what was happening. So I'm not surprised. That makes so much sense to me. But I love that 3 years later, because that's the thing with manifesting as well, is like the timing is a bitch. Like we don't get to control the timing at all.
Right. We want it now because it's going to fix all our problems now.
Totally. And how do you keep something in your mind's eye with ease and grace and alignment without squeezing the timing,
Right. Yeah. I always make sure to hand it over. I'll ask for these things and then just say, I trust in the universe and in a way that's for the highest good for all. Like I'm always trying to just hand it back over to the divine so that it's not just my little small will trying to wrangle it and control it.
Surrender.
Yeah.
Surrender. It's like all of the like major foundations of spirituality. It's like you have gone on this incredible journey with each of them, right? Trusting oneself, surrendering, alignment, all of these things. It's like your story is an authentic journey through the very foundations of spirituality.
And going off track and then being able to find that in a whole new way. And really, when we go off track, there really is a learning in that because we get to experience how far removed we feel from ourselves. And so when you come back to it, it just means everything. It's so much more solid. Not that you have to go off track the way I did. I don't think that needs to be at all.
Well, you had a dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
A true dark night of the soul. And so you went there, but then your power towards the light is it's profound. And I think, I just want everyone to have with them as well. Like, I think sometimes in our society, we think of like a spiritual awakening, like now I do yoga and I have like mala beads, which is all beautiful, right? Which is all beautiful. But oftentimes, a spiritual awakening looks like crying on a floor.
Yeah,
eating chocolate.
It can come with that. Right, totally. Because there's a purifying that has to happen. Like after that awakening in 2016, it was 2 to 3 months of complete joy, totally like being one with the divine, floating in grace. Everything was just so filled with love and tangible love. It felt like just everywhere I looked. And then the trauma kicked in of realizing what I'd been trapped in and what I'd been a part of. And that was where I would say the real dark night of the soul kicked in. And
after.
Yeah, like the abuse
the
happened
mirror.
before.
Right.
Exactly. But then the processing and the clearing, really, it was a massive, massive clearing that had to happen. I always say it's like fierce grace. That's what the spiritual teacher Ajashanti often calls it. That after an awakening, like grace will come in and rearrange things in the way that they need to be rearranged. And sometimes that's when the really uncomfortable stuff can happen.
Wow. And look where you are now.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Life is amazing.
She lives in Portugal. Every time she posts anything, I'm like, I'm coming right now. Let's do the interview.
I get all these messages. Can I come? I'm like, yes, come.
I want to visit. You have a beautiful life, and you're married, and it's really amazing. And now you have founded of Soul and Sky, and you're doing your own intuitive readings, and you have your podcast. How did it move from the abyss and the oracle into being able to do that for other people? It's one thing to have it for yourself and then help people out of a dark situation, but then to be able to use that in such a positive way to serve people. How did that come about?
Yeah, in that awakening in 2016, I felt really called to do a manifestation course. Like all the pieces were kind of coming together that I wanted to share. And then definitely realizing that my intuition was really tapped in, and I knew that I wanted to work with that. But I definitely needed to go through my own process of just dealing with all of my own stuff and working through all of that. But I started offering readings quietly, like just kind of without advertising anything, in about 2019. And over time, it really kind of showed me how powerful it was and how much it supported me in my process, and that I really had something to give to people, and, you know, hearing the feedback and how that was supporting people. So I just gained confidence over the years, and the process evolved. It started out a lot with, you know, pulling tarot cards and reading the cards. And the more I've learned to trust, it's a lot more intuitive stuff coming through, and even energetic stuff that gets cleared in the process. So yeah, just embracing that. And now finally I feel like it's time to do the manifestation course. And there's all these other things too. There's books that I want to write, and lots of different programs. There's another one that's calling me. Yes.
Yeah. When we were talking about like your journey through like the spiritual foundation, not even foundations, but like the highest forms of spirituality, like surrender, like forgiveness, like trusting oneself. It's like your journey through that I was like, oh, is that a book? Are we writing that? Are you writing that now? You know?
Yes, it's brewing for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's a few different ones that I want to write, but definitely that would be one of them.
So you're offering readings still, yes?
Yes.
And you can book them through your...
Yes, through ofsoulandsky.com.
Yes, exactly. Well, so how are you feeling about possibly pulling a few cards on the show? Does that feel good?
Yes. Of course. And actually, I already have messages for you, because what happens is once somebody books a reading, or like the space is opened up for that, the messages come through. So
oh my gosh,
I have a few for you.
Oh, thank you.
Want.
Yes.
And then for sure we can share for the community
collective.
Too.
Okay, great. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Yay.
Okay.
And I wrote them on my phone, which I don't have, but I think I can remember them. So are you ready to jump into it?
Yeah, if you are.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah,
totally.
Definitely.
Let's just, if you feel to, take a few deep breaths first. I love to always, tune in. And everyone can do that too if it's safe for them too. So nice in through the nose. And breathing everything out the mouth. Breathing in through the nose. And out the mouth. And one more. Yeah, and then I always just say messages for Erika's highest good, and therefore the highest good of all. And messages for the highest good of everyone listening as well. Yeah, okay. But your messages were jumping through yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
So, and actually, okay, the first one, before this message came through for you, I had actually posted a butterfly on my Instagram. There was just a photo that popped up in my feed.
Yes, I saw that. A beautiful butterfly.
Yeah,
I
blue and
saw
purple
that.
wings.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. So, and then the message for you actually was I saw similar, a little different, but I saw blue and purple wings, kind of like glowing like that. But they look more like archangel wings or angel wings, but really deep blue and purple. And the message was that, and you already know this, so it's just affirming, but the work that you do is, it's like you're taking people under your wings, under these wings of grace and connection. And as you do that, you're not only bringing light to other people, but you're being filled with light as you do that. So that was the first one.
Like Reiki energy.
I guess,
because
yeah.
Reiki, you pull through someone like a straw.
Right. Yeah, I've actually never trained in that, but yeah.
Right. But it's like if you're doing a reading or you're kind of pulling it, the person that you're reading for is pulling the energy through you. So you're having that healing experience as well.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm writing as we're talking. I hope that's okay.
Beautiful.
If I'm looking down.
Go for it. Then the second one, I always get like fruits or vegetables or herbs that come through for people that would be supportive. So for you, at first I saw like a green fruit, and I still can't figure out exactly what it is, but it's round, kind of the shape of a grape, but it feels like it's bigger than a grape, kind of hanging down. And sometimes when I say these things, people will be like, yes, I just bought this, I just got this or whatever. But if you don't know what that is, just to stay open, that you may see the fruit, it might kind of come across your path.
Is it a kiwi? Does it look like a kiwi? Okay.
It could be, although it feels like less fuzzy.
Fuzzy.
Are you feeling cold to kiwis?
No, I was just watching something about kiwi. That's why I was like, is it a kiwi?
It could be. There's something to that, although it feels like the skin is a bit shinier.
Oh, shiny green. Oh, gosh. I'm so excited. I'm going to look for that.
Yeah. So just see if it calls you.
Yeah.
And then purple grapes came through really strongly for you. And it could be, that eating purple grapes would be really supportive for your system, or even just having them around in some way, and you can kind of see where the signs pull you. In some cases, it might be like, oh, I'm going to a vineyard. But yeah.
Yes. I was about to say, am I supposed to be drinking purple grapes?
It could be.
Red wine?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, totally.
Totally.
Yeah, totally. I'm more I more drink white because red wine gives me some heartburn.
Okay, yeah. So, and of course, listen to your own
intuition
about it. Yeah, don't force yourself to drink red wine, just because I'm saying that.
No, but plus these symbols may come in different ways. I may see them somewhere and get drawn to, you just don't know when those things come up. It's just a trusting spirit. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a signpost or something. And now, and the final one for you was, I saw you with a blanket, like kind of an old school quilted blanket.
Uh-huh.
And it felt really important for you to wrap yourself up. So just you're making a face. Is that resonating?
Yes, I'm going to cry. What am I supposed to know about the blanket?
That you need that there's something really supportive about wrapping yourself in a blanket. That protection and comfort,
Do you feel like when you're connecting with spirit, do you feel like you're connecting with those that have crossed over as well?
So that does come through sometimes. Occasionally there'll be a message or there'll be a presence for sure. But often I'm not exactly sure where the messages are coming from. But yeah.
In 1978, my grandma, my mormor, because I'm Swedish, right? So I'm half Swedish. She hand quilted me a quilted blanket. And like all the pictures of me as a kid in Sweden, I'm with my blanket, my quilted blanket.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
you said
beautiful.
Old school quilted blanket. She did it by hand. And I had it for so long. And it was like I had like the stuffing on the inside. That was all that was left of it for a long time. But that blankie meant everything to me.
Wow. Oh, you don't have it anymore?
No. I don't.
So maybe another blankie could take its place and bring the same love.
You're gonna laugh at this story. So I replaced that blankie with like a old like a night shirt of my dad's or something, and I had it. And I'm going through my apartment in LA. I was married, And my husband was on set working, and I was with my mother-in-law, and she was helping us pack up our place because we were leaving. We're moving to Philadelphia. She went and she went, "What is this?" And she dangled this shredded old like shirt. I'm like, "It's my blankie." And she goes, "Erika, we need to let this blankie go. This blankie is done." And she was right. I had to set it free.
Maybe it was time for that one. Yeah.
It was time for that one to go. And I always tease her. I'm like, I'll never forget when my mother-in-law made me throw away my blankie. But blankets are like such a thing with me. So when you said an old school quilted blanket, I'm like, yes, that's my mormor. And my mormor is so present and prominent right now in my life. So I think that's why I was asking.
She was just bringing a little message. Yeah. Often I don't know why I'm saying something, and then people will just start crying, and it will like mean a lot to them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That resonates so deeply.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Grab your blankie.
New blankie. I need a new blankie.
And we need it, right? We're living in a crazy time. We all need a little blankie.
Yeah. And even to bringing that up, just thinking about that time, maybe going through a little bit for some healing during that time in my life when I needed that and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, those were the messages for you. We can totally pull a card too, or if you want to, we can just jump to the, what are you
Will
feeling?
you pull a card?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good.
Yeah, let me get my deck.
I wanted to say, so when you're doing a reading and you get those messages, are you with Oracle? Are you in the abyss, or are you just connecting in a different way?
I go into a stillness state for sure. But it doesn't take very much time. Like sometimes I can just drop in for a couple of seconds, and then I'll start getting either phrases or flashes of images. And usually if I get an image, I can ask, what's the message with this? And I'll get a message, but sometimes I just get the image and then I'll pass it on to the person, and that can mean something to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's just in that stillness.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay, so a card for Erika.
Oh my gosh. I'm so lucky. I feel like it's like my birthday right now.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, okay. What does Erika need to know right now? Or just any messages or guidance? So, okay, I'll show you. So 10 of Cups and 5 of Swords. And you can see it here. But so what's coming through with these is allowing yourself to be loved and supported.
Mm.
So yes, from yourself, but also allowing yourself to receive love from your loved ones.
Mm.
Yeah, and that feels like it's related to the blankie as well.
Mm.
Let yourself be held and cared for. And then, the 5 of Swords is saying, don't bite off more than you can chew. Like respect your own boundaries and your own capacity. So don't overuse your inner resources, if that makes sense. So,
very much.
Yeah. Yeah. So allowing yourself to, give when you have enough to give, and also nurture yourself and nourish yourself as well to make sure that you're supported.
I mean, both of those cards are like ringing that deep bell so much. That makes so much sense. And both things that I am focusing on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so much. Yes.
Yeah, because you give so much. I mean, I know that you hold space for so many people, and you're just such a giver. And yeah, it's just saying, allow yourself to be held too.
Yeah. And restore a little bit. Restore, I think, some of these wells. And I love allow to be loved, and that it's connected to the blankie. That makes so much sense. I'm very excited after we hang up to go tell my husband that, because sometimes he'll be like, after 20 years, if you don't know that I'm here for, there's a lot of that energy from that blankie time of not feeling loved. So it's interesting, that message of like, let the love in and be okay with that and say, yes, I feel the love.
Yeah, receive it.
Yeah, receive it. Oh my gosh, Bonnie.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. It's interesting. I've had people on the show and different experiences where I kind of am preparing to either get someone to read for me or pull a card for me. And it's like, I consciously have to say, like, let this person do this, because I instantly start seeing colors for them or messages for them.
Right.
Right. And I have to be like, no, let them do their work. And then once I kind of open that door, I immediately feel if I'm safe with that person.
Mm.
So, and not in a mean way or in a nothing
No, but we
like
have
that.
to be mindful.
Yes. And I can feel like, oh wow, this person is very maybe green, or they don't quite know how to hold energy, or I can immediately feel. And right when I was like, okay, let her pull these cards or whatever, I opened up. I felt so incredibly safe working with you. So incredibly safe.
That means so much to me. Yeah. In fact, like for the first year that I was working with people, that was like the main thing that I wanted to just really be sure to hold a safe space.
I will say, if, for anyone listening, just on a deep level, and people are like, Erika will only, connect with someone who's been on your show or who you believe in. Bonnie is incredible and safe and amazing. And the messages, I won't even get into detail. The messages that she just gave me are incredibly profound to me. And I highly, highly, highly recommend connecting with her for an intuitive reading. Really.
Thank you. It would be my
Thank
honor
you.
if anyone feels called.
Yeah. Thank
And
you.
I did have one message that came through for the collective.
That's, I was about to say, do you have a message for the collective?
I did, and now I'm trying to find it. Let's see if I can.
It may be changing as we're talking.
Right? Yeah, I'm pulling up what came through. Yeah, okay. So I'll just tune back into that. Okay, yeah. So the message was to open to grace within the mundane. And to see and experience grace everywhere. And I was seeing a street corner, like even a concrete road that can feel kind of void of life, like no trees, it's like concrete. Then the message is that it's even there, that it's easy to feel like the divine is in a beautiful sunset, but to open to it in absolutely everything.
Even in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Open to the divine, even in the mundane. I wrote it down. I feel like one of your books should be a quote book.
Yes.
I really
and actually
do.
That I already have that kind of in my mind. Yeah. Because totally. Right, the quotes are just coming out. So I might as well. Yeah.
And then, yes, you have to put your name under them,
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so amazing. What a beautiful message to everyone.
That struck me when it came through too. It's like, yeah, it's everywhere, even in a piece of concrete.
It's so interesting too, you're saying that as well, because I feel like just for connecting with the amount of people I connect with, a question I get a lot is like, how do I remain in connection to spirit and God in my horrible job that I can't stand? You know what I mean?
Right. A lot of people are in situations like that.
Yeah, that are in these situations. And it's like, God is there no matter what. God is ever present. God is not tempestuous or bitchy or like, I like you today. No, I don't like you today. Right? God is always present. God is. It's our connecting or tapping into it. So even in uncomfortable spaces, you can still quiet and go within and make that connection.
Yep. Exactly. And miracles can happen in a boring office. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I love that. That is so amazing. So before we wrap up, I know we said around this time is where we wanted to go, but what would you say to anyone that is really searching right now to feel into themselves and to feel their connection to God and spirit?
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. I would say everyone has some sense or some spark of connection that they have touched on, that they have felt and known for themselves. Or it may even be that there's a practice that they've known really helped them get into that state of connection, but they haven't been doing it. So kind of inviting people to go into those areas that light them up, that feel connected for them. And yeah, remembering back throughout their life, what were the things that helped them tap in, that helped them connect and feel that joy, that otherworldly joy, and to just prioritize those. Because everybody has those they're like little signposts and little entryways, and they're different for all of us. But yeah, what are they for you? and just, go into them.
Yeah, right. I love that you said too in the past, because sometimes when people are searching for their purpose, they're like, I don't know. And you're like, well, what did you like to do when you were younger?
Right.
And they're like, well, I always wanted to be a teacher, but then, my family told me I wouldn't make money doing that. So now I'm in accounting and I'm really sad. It's like, whoa, wait, that's it. We're there,
Yeah. And with purpose also, like there's something in teaching that then people could think, okay, so what was it about teaching that really moved me and that it really inspired me? And maybe it's a quality or it's a certain skill that doesn't even necessarily have to be in teaching, but that could be a number of different things as well. To just look at what are the qualities, what's the light that you're giving, and then see if you can find ways to shine it.
Thank you so much for coming on my show. And, we kind of like started talking, but thank you for the beautiful, beautiful reading, and to your guides for bringing me those messages. I will cherish them.
Thank you. Thank you for trusting me and for bringing me on. I love you so much.
I love you too. And I love getting to be with you today and getting just to talk and just connect. And I'm so grateful to my reading. Thank you very, very much for doing that, really.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming on. And so how everyone's going to want to connect with you. What's the best way they can connect with you, and how do they connect with you and work with you?
Yeah, so if you're on Instagram, you can go to my personal, which is at Bonnie M Piesse, Piesse, or my spirituality one, which is at Of Soul and Sky. Or you can just go to my website, ofsoulandsky.com, and, go to the contact part and send me a message and reach out. And also my podcast, you can listen there if you want to hear more.
How do we hear your music?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like I'm in a brewing transformation phase with my music where I'm not sure where it's going, but it has been a real love for me my whole life. So I think it's on most of the platforms, one of my EPs, which is called Found, which is actually the songs that came out of me finding myself and my awakening. There's a bunch of my music in The Vow too that people can hear, including the opening title. I sang on that. And those are the main ways. And I think there'll be more coming soon. I just don't know how yet.
You are so talented. You're a true artist, really.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Erika.
Yes, of course. And to everyone listening, I am so excited and so happy that you got to hear Bonnie and her story and her incredible journey. And if you take nothing else away, please know that you are not alone. That whatever you may be experiencing or processing or going through, you are supported. There are others feeling this incredible call towards their authentic self. And you are not alone. And you're also not alone because you can call to your angels and to your guides. And yes, everybody has them, not just us. You have guides, you have angels, you have a support system, even your higher self, your ancestors. Call them, evoke them to support you on your incredible path. You are not alone. Thank you for listening. God bless you all. And listen in every Tuesday for a brand new episode. God bless. Take care, guys.